Hello everybody, Steffi here from The Makers, and I've got of course the other S sitting here next to me as well.
Hello.
She's the voice in the background, but you will see her in a minute too, because I'll let her explain details about this beautiful Next Makers box design, which is basically something that Sophie has designed. So she knows the ins and outs so much better than I do. And it's this time of the month that we love, because the new makers boxes are going out. It's probably the time of the month that our staff absolutely hate, because they've got extra super duper busy and work to do. But we love it because it's something new happening, and we get to see lots of lovely makes from yours. And of course, if you are tuning in for the first time, we have got our makers box. That's what we're unpacking today. We've also got our surprise box, which is what we're unpacking today, and we're unpacking the fairy box as well. We'll start with this one, but I just got to have a quick look who's here today. If you don't know this, but this obviously is sort of outside our normal session on YouTube, but we do have regular sessions on YouTube, which is usually at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and that's where we help you along, and we make along, and sometimes you join us and make yours while we're making it. And it's always lovely to know that so many people are there. And I'm quite overwhelmed with all these lots of comments. Let's just wave a quick hello to Diane. Hi Fanny. Hi Serena. Hi another Diane. Alicia is there, and Laura, and Emma is at the other end. She's representing the makers as usual. And we've got lots of Dianes, or is it always the same one commenting? Probably. Hi Faith, and Heather is there, and I think we're just gonna get started. So what normally happens is that you're waiting with anticipation for your postman to walk down the lane, hopefully holding a nicely wrapped red box, and when you open it, out comes our makers box. This one here. This one's really, it's one of those where we have to literally sit on it to close it up. And this month's theme is, and this is November, is the Badger and Woodland. As you can see here, all laid out. It's a really lovely project because it gets you making lots of little things. It's like a 3D diorama, and the little badger is complete in there as well. So you can make him be outside entirely, or he can be on top of his set, whoop, and then tumble off. Or he could just be going in from, it's like a little tunnel where he could be coming out, snuffling and shuffling, making his way out to you. There you go. There he is. So you also have a tree on there, which is made from this amazing structural felt. Sophie will tell you lots more about it. There's a tiny little owl sitting on there, and talking about tiny little, if you haven't spotted them, there's tiny little mice here in the foreground as well. One looking up, this little toadstool, and another one coming out of the hole from this hollow tree trunk. So you get everything to make this whole display in this box. Now you know why we have to sit on it to close it. There you go. So let's go overhead and open it, and then you get to see more about it too. So this is the box you're getting. You open it that way, and if you get our boxes already, you will be used to that they always come with a nice tissue paper. You get our makers newsletter. This month in November we have got there's always a free tutorial on the back. So here this month you get how to make a very easy patterned bauble, and we are doing a workshop or mini workshop or tutorial for this later this month as well. And this is on the YouTube slot that I was mentioning at 1 p.m. and that gets repeated on Facebook at 7 p.m. And in our newsletter you always get lots of useful information, what our new release kits are, what the fiber of the month is, what is the accessory of the month, and we give you a bit of an insight of what to watch out for in terms of the live streams that are coming up. And at the moment we've got lots on here as well, which are all the projects that we are doing in November as part of the virtual shows that we are clearly not going to in person, but we're doing lots of Zoom workshops and Facebook workshops, and some are on the telly as well. Right, so let's open this up. Maker's Box newsletter is always the first one up. That gives you a bit of an insight on why and what the box is all about. It's always good to read it. It gives you also just a reminder that our new subclub discount code gives you 20% off on items that we've chosen for this month in the collection, so definitely worth checking out. And it gives you an insight to the next Maker's Box, which is a little sleepy kitten in a basket. And then you've get our full color instructions with the tape measure here on the side in centimeters, because we work in centimeters, and if you're an inches person, then that definitely helps. Our instructions often have got templates in them, not always, but if they're helpful, they're there. And then it takes you through the different makes and projects all the way to the very end. Lots of pictures, lots of steps. But as we always say, don't be deterred by any of this, because start at the beginning and then you'll get there in the end. And then a lot of wool here is actually vacuum packed so that it's not too taking up too much space, so it's got all the air sucked out. And then this is the magic structural felt that we actually now is a new product. And so this we are going to list on our website very shortly, so you can buy this. If you love it, then you will be able to buy this for other things as well. We're in love with it, and we want to offer more of it. And then you get also a little pack here with your glue-in eyes for the badger. Now, I just remind everybody that our subscription boxes are suitable for total beginners, because we make sure that the way that we write the instructions, it is totally suitable for those who've never even seen a needle felting needle before. And we give hints and tips of where you can acquire more knowledge if you want to. And because we have absolutely endless amount of tutorials on YouTube as well as on our website. I'm going to pack this up again because you've got to wait for yours. There you go. And this is the one that you're getting in the post. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to Sophie, because she can tell you a little bit more on some of the very sort of technical bits of how to make the 3D diorama, and then she'll hand back to me and we have a look at the next Maker's Box. Okay, you ready? Okay. There you go.
Thank you, Steffi. Hello, everybody. Nice to see everyone. Still here. Bump's getting a bit bigger. I think I've gone into kind of child mode with this project because it's lots of fun and playful. So I have a spare one of these at home that we play with all the time now. So I think we're getting ready. The most exciting thing about this project is our structural core felt. So this is what it looks like. You get a big piece. You can buy it by the meter or half meter, and it's 100% British wool with a kind of Hessian. Can you see that? Oh, wrong camera. There we go. A Hessian in the middle. When you're cutting this felt to make shapes, just be careful. You do get a lot of little bits there, so try not to breathe them in. You can always wear your face mask for that part. And the most amazing thing about it is when you're needle felting anything, it's really needle felting is brilliant for creating kind of round shapes and 3D shapes. But if you want to create something hollow with needle felting, it can be quite difficult. So if you wanted to create a kind of bowl shape or like a tunnel shape, like our badger's in his tunnel there, that can be quite tricky if you're just using loose wool fibers. So with this structural core felt, you can create all sorts of hollow shapes by folding it around. So you can fold it up like that and create a cylinder. So that's similar to how the hollow log is formed. This is kind of one piece all wrapped around it on itself with the edges all trimmed to make a gnarly old tree. And then of course there's Badger with his tunnel. So the base of this is also made from the structural core felt, so it's a really solid base. Even if you want to just use it flat to make a picture or a diorama like the badger, it's a really good thick base to work into, and it's about 1 centimetre thick. So if you wanted to make a picture with lots of relief kind of elements, like a 3D green man or something like that, it's a really good base to work into because it's really strong. It's not going to kind of stretch out of shape. So we're hoping that you will love this as much as we do. We're using it in our next Maker's Books project as well, but I'll let Steffi tell you more about that when the time comes. And if you want to make your 3D shapes, the best way is to sew it together. Now I know lots of felters prefer felting. You can felt it together as well. So you would just cover your seam. I'm going to do it with a bit of blue here. So you could cover your seam there with a little bit of felt. I'll just switch to the other camera. So I'm bending it round. I'm just covering it with a bit of felt, like that. And then you can just felt that into place. So it does require stabbing quite near your hands, so do watch your fingers. But you can make quite a strong bond if you can felt a little bit into the other side as well. That's also good, so that you've got it covered on both sides. And lots of stabs, sort of one way and then the other way. So you're really crossing those fibres over to make a strong join. It does take a little bit longer than sewing, and I would say sewing is maybe a bit stronger overall. So if you're happy sewing, I will show you how to do that as well. So I'm using yarn just so that you can see it, but you could use just normal sewing thread. I would double it up just for strength. So here's how I've made the badger's tunnel. So I've got the bigger piece of structural core felt as the base, and then the tunnel is sewn into the base and then worked over with a lot of loose fibres and our basic core wool. So I've got my base there, and then I've cut out my piece for the tunnel. So before you sew this on, it's good to check that your badger actually fits inside the tunnel, because it's easy to make your badger a bit portly, and then he might have trouble squishing into his home. If that happens, you can just felt down into the back of the badger. I did have to do that on him to just shrink him down a little bit. So if you're sewing your structural core felt to make the tunnel, you've got your piece there, you've bent it into a tunnel shape, and the best thing to do is, if you've got like a white pencil crayon or dressmaker's chalk, you can mark where you want your tunnel to sit, because it can move around a little bit as you sew it on. But if you haven't, don't worry, you can just go for it and see what happens. So I'm taking my threaded needle. Don't tie a knot, because a knot can easily pull through. What you're going to do instead is just do 3 little stitches on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, and I'm not going to pull this too tight, because otherwise the stitches will just disappear. But if you're doing this at home, you can pull it a bit tighter than I am. And then you're just going to use like a whip stitch. So it's just a really simple stitch in and out to work along the side of that tunnel. When you add wool onto the top of this, you're felting wool when you're building up the sides of the tunnel, or if you're making a tree trunk, you might be adding like details into the tree. When you build that up, that will help to strengthen the join as well. So you don't have to worry about being neat. You're going to cover this up anyway, and you don't have to worry too much about it being super duper strong if you're adding extra layers on top. So it's just in and out. I'm moving the needle along a little bit each time I take a stitch. It's messy as anything, and that's completely fine. And for this first side, it's definitely easy, you can just have this piece of felt flat against your base piece. So again, to finish, just 3 little stitches on top of each other, and that will stop the yarn pulling through. And then just cut or break your thread, and you've got one side sewn on. Again, don't even worry about that end, you're going to felt everything down on top of it. So you've got one side sewn on, and then you can bend your other side up to form the tunnel. This side's a little bit more tricky to sew on. I will just start it off, but you don't need to see the whole thing. But just hold it in place as you start it off. Get those 3 little stitches on. And once you've worked your way along and done a few stitches, you just want to check that it's still where you want it to be, and check that your badger still fits through before you sew the rest of it on. You can always sew it on quite loosely if your badger doesn't fit, and so he's got a bit more room to get through. So just working your way along again. And again, just checking that your tunnel's the right shape. You could have it wider at one end if you wanted. Again, that will make your tunnel a bit shorter, so make sure your badger fits in if you want to do that. Or you could cut the sides slightly on an angle if you want it to be more of like a hole rather than a tunnel, so the back isn't open, it's just open at the front. So lots of ways you can play, even just making a tunnel for a badger. So I'm just going to show you as well how to make a round shape. So if you wanted to make a basket, or I thought this would be really good for if you wanted to make, if you're making bigger creatures, like we've got big gnome. Big gnome. Aha! Let's have a look at the big gnome. If you're making bigger creatures like this giant gnome here, you could make like more of like a top hat style for him with using this structural core felt. You could bend it round in a circle to make the top of the hat, and then sew a flat circle on top and make a brim for it as well. And he could have all kinds of styles of hats. He could even have a cowboy hat if he wanted.
Yippee! Yeehaw!
And I'm sure you can think of lots of different uses for this felt as well as I'm talking. So if there's things that you wanted to make, could make great shoes or a great waistcoat on a bigger, it would have to be quite a big make because of the thickness of the felt.
So if you just mention that it's better quality than compost felt that you get in the food boxes.
Oh yes, Steffi's just made a point about you can get these food boxes with a felt inlay inside to insulate the food. That felt is not felted very well together. It's quite bitty and it will come apart quite easily, so you can't sew it, and it's not got the structure that this felt has got. This has got this Hessian like, I don't know what you would call it, scrim kind of lining inside it, which makes it really strong. So that gives it a lot of structure. So just going back to that overhead camera, I've done those 3 little stitches on top of each other again, and then I'm just going to use that whip stitch to go along. And again, if you're covering this with another colour, don't worry at all what your stitches look like. And if you're not covering it, then just use a similar colour to the structural core felt. And when you pull the stitches tight, they do disappear inside. So it's just that whip stitch in and out, and then 3 little stitches on each end. And you've got your 2 sides joined together. And it does become quite a sort of seamless finish. Obviously you can see the stitches here, but if you used a brown wool or a brown thread, you wouldn't be able to see it. And so you could use that to make a little hollow tree or a little basket. You could cut a little circle and have a little basket or whatever you wanted. So hopefully you're getting lots of ideas how you might use this felt. If you're watching this live on YouTube, then have a little comment and see what you think you'd like to use this felt for. We'd love to hear your ideas. And yeah, thank you. And I'm going to hand you back over to Steffi now for the rest of the boxes.
Thank you, Sophie. And as I'm sitting there listening, I keep thinking, oh, what can I make next? And yeah, I made a dog. No, it's not a dog. It's a cat basket for the next box. So it really does. It's amazing stuff to work with. Is it already listed? Can people already buy it?
I think it's not listed yet, but maybe today it's going to be listed.
So maybe today it's going to be listed, and you can add this into your shopping basket when you buy your stash from us, of course. Right, and I will just show you very quickly on the overhead camera if it's visible at all. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a really fine dusting of little fibers. So we've asked one of our colleagues who suffers from asthma, and I said, would you like this? Would you like to cut this? And she said, no, she would definitely wear a mask. So this is just to make everybody aware that it's, you can see it's coming here together now. It does leave sort of little, it doesn't bother me in the slightest, but then I don't suffer from any respiratory illnesses. So yes, anyway, that went on the floor now. I did try to put it in the bin, but the bin was too far away. Right, let's go to the next one. So we've got our surprise box. Let's start this one. I'm really excited by this one. I'm always excited by these because I'm allowed to see it and you're not. You have to get yours to look inside. And this one is called Space Travel. And I'm not even going to go in the overhead camera. Bye, Sophie. But you basically get in there your newsletter, as always, and then I'm not showing it to you, but what we normally have is we have a whole sort of almost like a color chart that tells you what you find inside here this time. And it's got a really nice yellow, as bright as a star, tissue paper in there. I'm just going to have to do this because I'm going to look and you're not, because I'm mean like that. And ooh, nice. Ooh, that's a brand new fiber we haven't ever had before. And what is that? Oh, it's like Christmas. It's got little individual parcels in there that I can't even see what's inside, and I'm not going to unwrap them. Ooh, this is nice. Oh, I like that. Oh, anyway, that's it. Space travel. That's the theme of the box. That's what you will be getting if you get our surprise box. It's full. It's the same size as our maker's box, this box, and it's full of wool fibers. We love it when people make their own creative makes out of it, because remember, there's no instructions. All you get is a little leaflet with the name of the fibers and what we like about it or what might be special about it, and you get your box, and full of fluff and wool, and not always wool, there are other things in there as well. So it'd be really nice to see what you're making from the surprise box, which is space travel. Excellent. Right, that's the surprise box covered, and let's get to the fairy box. Now the fairy box is a Christmas fairy this month. I think it could easily be a winter fairy or maybe an angel, anything really, but it is coming up for Christmas. If you want it, if you like it or not, that's just how it is. And so there we are, next month. Dear, how did we get there? Let's have a look at this box then. So the fairy box comes in a slim box. All of our subscription boxes, they are literally just subscription boxes. Our fairy boxes are the exception in that you can buy your an individual box, but you save yourself 20% if you subscribe. So now I'm going to open this very gently, because they're also often squished full with luscious fibers. Let's have a look inside here. And I've also got the real fairy. Not the real fairy, but you know what I mean. Well, she's real to me, as real as they come. The model here. So she's actually here. Let's have a look at her before I open that box. There you go. She's really soft. She's made from extra fine merino. She's got a beautiful little Liberty Bell here. She's got lots of lovely decorations. So you get little stars, you get snowflakes, you get some really sparkly sequin ribbon here. The wings are really lovely. They're like iridescent little wings. I'm holding onto her crown. She has a little crown on her head, and you can hang her up on a silky thread, which is all part of the box, of course. So I just rest her down here for a minute while I open this box. Let's see what's inside. Maybe I should swap this round. There you go. Right, so in the fairy box, unsurprisingly, you get the fairy box newsletter, which which tells you a little bit about the season, tells you a little bit about what's special about the actual fairy, and I even turned into a bit of a poet this time round. A fairy so pure and bright, shining like a star in the darkest night. And for us, I don't know, recently I had one of the sayings, it kept coming to my mind, that I remember from my childhood, and it goes like, wenn du denkst, es geht nicht mehr, kommt von irgendwo ein Lichtlein her. And basically what that means is, if you think you can't go any further, there will be a little light appearing from somewhere. And this fairy is a little bit like that. It's a tiny little light in maybe a time that seems a little bit dark right now. So we've got the instructions are here, and if you have had our fairy boxes before, you know that you do need our basic shape for angels and fairies and figures instruction sheet. That comes in the very first box if you're subscribing it, and then you use that for the consequent fairy boxes, and if you are just buying a one-off box, you get this every time. And what's special about this little fairy, I will show you in a minute some hints and tips, because you get quite a lot of curl this time. She's got almost sort of like a double layer hair, so it's not just the curls here, it's also another layer on top of it. So she's got lots and lots of curls, beautiful Teeswater curls. They're not so long, but they're really lush and quite white and shiny, so we love them for that. And I will show you how to put these onto her. So in here, as I said, you always get a felting needle in your fairy box, because you only need one needle. There is not huge amounts of felting to be done. A lot is left to just the lovely lushness of the wool. Lots of accessories this time. As I said, the crown, the Liberty Bell, you get some stars, some snowflakes, and of course you get your hanging thread, and you need also the extra strong thread to tie around the head. And then you've got your beautiful curls here, quite a lot, as I said, for a little fairy head, and then the different wools that you need to make the fairy. And I'm just looking for it. There's the pipe cleaner. You need a pipe cleaner too for this one. So you've got three different types of wool, white wools here, and I will just mention that because you have your you start off with the pink wool, obviously that's not white, and then you use this slightly creamier wool, which is the wool that goes to make the head, and then you've got the Shetland, this one here, which is the whitest natural white that we have got to make her pretty little petticoat. Now if you're getting these two ones muddled up, it's not the end of the world, it's just that there might be slightly, I think it's the same quantity as well. I'll just check on the instructions. Yes, it's the same amount. If you get the two muddled up, it's not the end of the world, because the actual petticoat is so really sort of hidden away. But you will see that one of them is slightly creamier than the other. So we're using the slightly creamier one to make the head, because that gets covered up with the pink. And we're using the slightly whiter one as almost a petticoat. And then this one you can't get muddled up at all, because it's a top and it's super soft. And this top you will use to also make the little arms, which are covered in white, so you've got little pink hands, but you're making the arms with this as well. And this goes for the pink and for the white. If you're having to use a little bit of this, then take it off as a long strand, so you're not destroying the rest of it. Just take off a little strand like this, and that will be plenty enough to wrap around the arms, and then you don't have to sort of worry that you might have destroyed this lovely long dress here that you want to maintain as a whole to dress your fairy up, so that comes all the way down to the front and the back. And that's basically what you get in November's fairy box, which, as you know, the subscription box is available until the end of each month. That goes for all the subscription boxes until the last day of the month, and then we change over. But with a fairy box, as long as we have made enough, you can also buy it as a one-off. So and they stay on for sale. So if you have missed out on some of the past fairy boxes, then you can, or I'm going to have to leave the experts to pack this up nicely again, because I'm just going to make a mess of it. So then you can obviously get some past fairies as well. And that's basically the little fairy. Now I'm going to show you how to get all this stuff up here. How to attach the curls. We keep getting asked about this over and over, and so I thought, okay, let's do it again, let's just do it. And I will just show you, go overhead again. So you get quite a longish bit of sequins ribbon or trim in your fairy box, and what you do is you tie this around the fairy's waist, starting at the back. It's really beautiful. The camera here will just not give it justice at all. You tie this around the waist of the fairy after you've needle felted in the waist a little bit, and you just put a plain simple knot on it so that it's hanging down the front, and you've got this iridescent little sparkle. Don't worry if the odd sequins will come off. Oop, that's the fairy just dropped down. Because that's fine, because it's just the end of the trim, and I haven't tied that very equal, but it still looks lovely. So you've got that little strand hanging down there. Then you have got a felting needle. Now I would always suggest at the wings before you add the curls, and the wings is again they're beautiful iridescent. It depends what light you're looking at. Sometimes they look purple, sometimes they look white and pink, and there's all kinds of colors shining through. Use a little bit of glue to put on the back here on the fairy. Just squirt out a tiny bit. This glue is still a bit blocked up. Oh no, there it is. And put the wings on before you put the hair on. Now the annoying thing is when you use a glue that needs to dry, it always means you have to let it dry. You could also just sew it on, so just sew around the wing middle. And then what you do is next is whilst you're waiting for this to dry, which obviously I'm not doing right now because I don't want you to sit here for an hour watching glue drying. Then you have your curls here, and I'll show you just very quickly. So the curls, they do come sometimes sort of matted together, but that does not make them bad curls. It just means that they need to be separated. So for this, you do use scissors. And if you have something like this, don't tear it, because all you do is you're just going to tease the curls apart, like frizz them out. You don't want to frizz them. You just need to give the bits that are clinging to each other, just cut them apart. There, and then you have your individual curl here, and then just organize your curls, because we haven't done this for you. We've just literally weighed them and put them in the and if you've got some that are really determined to stay together, then work with what you've got. And the way to work with this is that you actually pull them apart sideways a little bit, because that will suddenly make one strand of curl will turn into, look how much bigger this is now, just because you've teased them out a bit, and they don't need to be quite so dense. And then you can start with a set of curls like this and lay it onto the side of the fairy's head, so that you've got some nice curls running down the front. Use your felting needle you'll get in the fairy box, and just stab the curls in at the top and around the face of the fairy, so that you can you can just fasten it on and start framing the fairy's face first, because that's the part that you see the most. So and then you do this on the other side as well. So pick your curls carefully, and remember, if you can separate them, then do, but if you can't, work with what you've got. That's the best advice I can give you. And do tease them apart, especially at the top, because you want them to sort of spread out over the head a little bit more, because that's much easier to felt them on. So I've spread them out up here, but actually down here I'm leaving them all like that. And then I touch this on to the fairy's head again. Let the curls sort of come forward onto her front, felt it on where it needs felting on. And then you've now covered and framed her face, which is the most important thing, because that's what you're going to see on her. And then you can turn her round, and hopefully the wings will be attached by then. Got a bit of a wild curl going on here. And then you're going to cover the back by doing exactly what you did around the face. If you have a part of curl that sort of doesn't want to be separated, then work with what you've got. Equally, you can look, I can see that it looked like that it couldn't be separated, but now I can see that there are just a few snips, and I can see there's a gap there. It's just that some of the fibers are rather clingy onto each other. And then you can flatten this out as well, and then you cover the back of the head as well. So make sure that it's all in harmony with the front. You can work with less curls at a time if you want to. I'm just putting them on quite fast now. Remember, there is a wire inside the head, so don't stab too vigorously so that you have a chance of breaking your needle. And you will probably end up with hair going over, covering the wing part as well, going over the back. Still got a very wild curl sticking out there. Can just stroke that down. And I just want to show you quickly how you would add a second layer. So you've got one layer coming all the way from the top of the head going down, but if you want to, and I've still got loads of curls left, if you want to add a bit more so that she's got more of a shock of hair, because these curls are really white and lush, they're really nice curls, then you can pick your curls again. You've got to be quite picky for with these curls. Pick your curls again. If you need to shorten curls, never shorten it where you've got the natural sort of end of the curl. Shorten it further up the top, and you can just cut it off. And then remember, you're spreading that bit out, and then you can add a second layer. So it's almost like you're layering the curls. So this part is slightly shorter than the rest, and you stab in the frizzy part at the top in again, and that way you're adding another layer on top of the fairy's head. The fairy's main attraction is probably sort of her really lovely curly hairdo, and then obviously work your way around. Now I've got a bit of a trick as well to impart on you if you want to put this little crown on. There is a really good trick in keeping the crown in the right place, and that is putting the thread on that you need to hang the fairy up first. With this particular fairy, you also need to make sure you leave some of this silky thread so that you've got some left to hang the little bell on, but you only need a tiny amount. Just be mindful of that. But if you want to put the thread on to hold her her little crown in, you know, as an extra security for the crown, then put the thread through first, and then when you've done that, put that, all of that through. Where's the other one gone there now? There. And then put the crown through the thread that you've just sewn on, obviously the right way round, and that way you still have to glue the crown on, but it's already in the right place then. And if it, for whatever reason, if the glue gets, you know, goes off a bit, like comes off or anything like that, the crown will not just disappear because it's caught between the head and the thread. So then you can sew the, then you can glue the crown on, but it's not going to go anywhere because it's now fastened here, like threaded through that hole between the head and the thread. Sorry, that was a bit of a roundabout way to talk. Right, so that's basically how your little tips and tricks on the different boxes. I'm just going to have a quick check on the comments. Emma's been busy answering some questions. Alicia said it's bad luck that too bad that she can't stop her curls on to make them behave. Yeah, I know that's obviously a problem for real curls. So don't even attempt this. Don't try this on yourself, I should say now. Sorry, I'm reading back to from the back up. So I've got I have no idea where I need to start to go down. So oh yes, and I should say that Alicia very kindly runs Zoom. I don't know what they're called. They're not classes and they're not workshops, but they're like Zoom gatherings to work together and make the projects from the makers boxes. So she will. There is a whole. We can probably put it on Facebook when she's actually running the Zoom classes, so you can be part of that to make the project alongside her. And remember, it's new to her as well, so you're all starting off on an equal par, and that might be quite good when you're feeling a little bit it's one thing when I needle felt. I've done several of the projects usually before I even turn them into a kit, and Sophie the same, before we turn them into kits or subscription boxes or whatever. But if you're stubbing along with somebody who's literally coming at it completely fresh, then you're all in the same boat together, and that you can support each other. So that's a really good one. Oh, I love those comments coming through about how to use the structural felt. I think it's amazing stuff, and as Sophie said, it is definitely not the cheap quality that you would get in a food box. This is proper stuff. You can't tear it. It is really quite solid. I literally can't tear bits off because it has got that Hessian support inside. So it's a really good felt, really strong to use to make sort of structures with it. Mug warmers, excellent. I've already been thinking, I've made this little cat basket which you actually get to make in the next box, but why not make a proper cat basket with for I thought, I could make one of these. We've got a stray cat that we're looking after at the moment. Well, he's not allowed in the house because our cats, there's a felting needle in there. Our cats will not have it. Oh, it's a broken felting needle. Now that is worrying. Where's the other bit? Anyway, cross that bridge in a minute. I thought, wouldn't it be nice for a little cat? They would love it, wouldn't they? It's 100% wool. It's compostable. It's been made from recycled wool. You can't make it any greener, any more environmentally friendly. So hopefully you'll be able to buy this structural felt very, very soon. Right. Whew, okay, that was an exciting leap through the subscription boxes. I will just say that we never tie you in a contract. We want you to love the boxes. We don't want you to feel this is a pain in the hoo-ha and I can't get out of it. You can always skip boxes if you don't want to unsubscribe. You can skip as many boxes as you want. We don't say, oh sorry, you can't have another box now because you skipped too many. You can skip as many as you want. We know times are tough. And sometimes it's not just finance. This is also sometimes people don't have the time to keep up on it, and then they feel stressed when they're piling up. We don't want you to feel stressed. We want you to feel happy and all up for needle felting with us. Remember, we give you lots and lots of support. If you need to practice your needle felting, or if you want to make other things, then come and join us on our make-alongs, on our YouTube channel, on our Zoom workshops, on whether we host them ourselves or whether they're through others. We've got quite a lot coming up, so this is really exciting. And we always try and introduce you to a new technique in our subscription boxes. So always something that we thought, let's try this, or we've been doing this for a long time, let's share it. We want you to make these things. We don't mind at all if you make zillions and sell them all for loads and loads of money. We are absolutely happy if you want to sell our finished products once you've made it yourself, from our kits, from our books, from our subscription boxes, from our materials. That's yours to do whatever you like with. And if we can support you in any way or form, let us know. We're all in this together. Keeping our hands busy at this time of the year will stop our minds from being busy. And I, for one, much prefer my hands being busy than my mind being so busy, because I can tell you my mind goes round in circles most of the time. So oh yes, and the other thing is, definitely give us thumbs up on this video. Give us a like give us thumbs up on the video, which is the same thing as a like, and do subscribe to our channel. We're eking our way up to 2,000 subscribers, which is hugely exciting, because it's literally definitely doubled, 2.5 since we've been a lot more active since the beginning of the first lockdown. So in that respect, 2020 was a good year for our YouTube channel, and hopefully you all have been benefiting from this. Right, I think I've run out of things to say now, so go and get your box. If you're already subscribing and you have to wait until the end of the month, you can change your payment date so you can join us in sooner. We always have a competition on our Facebook page, Everyone a Maker. Join our, I haven't got a mug here. Everyone a Maker is our Facebook group. You can join it by just answering 3 super simple questions, but please do answer them. If we get a request and these questions are not answered, we will decline the request to join. So if you're inviting your friends, make sure that they're also prepared to answer those questions. They are so easy questions. We just want to know that you're there out of personal interest, that you we ask you what you would like to learn, because that's really good feedback for us, and that you agree to the rules, which are just normal common sense, like we're all nice people, and that's it basically. So do answer those 3 questions, please, 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 and then we let you come in. And we have got lots and lots. I think we're over 3,000 members on that group now, and lots of oohs and ahs, and lots of love coming your way, because that's what we're like at Everyone a Maker. And I don't think I've missed anything now about the subscription boxes. You will always find out 3 months in advance what's coming, or I will just give you a very sneak preview. I'm really proud of her. She's the little Snowdrop Fairy. So she's coming in December, basically, ready to ring her little bell. She's actually got a little bell in that snowdrop. You can't probably hear it. You have to have fairy ears. You have to have fairy ears to hear the little bell. And if you're around tomorrow for our usual time at 1 p.m. on YouTube, then don't forget to tune in, because we'll be making Joseph from the Nativity. If you don't want to make a Joseph to save your life, that's fine too. Join us anyway, because you can just make a man, just an ordinary man, and then you can make an ordinary woman with a baby. They don't have to be Mary and Joseph. Just come and join for the fun. So we see you hopefully tomorrow, and until then, I wish you all the best, and take care of each other, and in any case, take care. Bye.